back into the 4 o'clock show. With our lives getting busier each day, it can get difficult remembering valuable information like medical records, but a new phone app developed right here in Mississippi is using artificial intelligence to assist you in keeping track of important medical information. And joining me now is Dr. Theodore, along with Chief Marketing Officer for Recorded Health, Chloe Lucas. Thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you.
So this is some exciting news, an app being created here within the state, but solely based on patients so they can remember everything from a doctor's appointment. Tell me more.
Well, I've been a physician for almost 40 years right now, and a practicing cardiac surgeon for a little less than 30 years. And over pretty much the entirety of that time, it's quite evident that despite long and detailed and sometimes emotionally charged conversations with patients, patients typically have, more common than not, really a hard time remembering key important aspects of that conversation. And that turns out to track its way through their healthcare journey as detrimental to them.
Roughly 90% of patients, based off your website, right?
Yeah, actually, the amount that folks remember, patients remember from a healthcare provider that's called doctor-patient conversation is about 10% at a week. Otherwise, in other words, they are forgetting almost 90% of the important information. And about half of what patients remember is typically remembered in error. They get it wrong.
Yeah, right.
And that's not any fault of theirs. There's a host of reasons. It's typically somewhat of an anxiety-provoking event many times.
It can be a lot.
Fear and anxiety, and it's just hard to remember.
Yeah, so Chloe, tell me, what's the name of this app and how can we obtain it and what's all in there?
So the app is called MyDocSaid. It's available on Google Play and on the iOS platform. Currently, the app is $9.99 a month, and the first month is free. And so you can go on your app store on your phone and download, and so we're super excited about it.
Now, you tell me it recently launched last week. You were kind of giving me like a behind the scenes of the app before we even came on to do this interview, but you can actually record your conversation and it transcribes everything.
Yes.
Bullet points I saw.
And so the app itself, you're able to record the conversation between a patient and provider. It transcribes the conversation, so you not only have it in audio, but you also have it in text. And then it summarizes it. We like to call it a care overview. And so all of the good information that's being talked about is bullet pointed. And so if you're going to share it with a family member, it's just really easy to understand. And so, yeah.
And Dr. Theodore, I know this didn't happen overnight. It was clearly some planning to go along in this, right?
Absolutely. I had the idea that congealed over the preceding 10 years almost. And it really wasn't until I relocated to Mississippi about 4 years ago that things from the team perspective, and in particular the technology backbone and the technology stack development, really fell into place when I got here to Mississippi. I wasn't necessarily expecting that, but it was a phenomenal surprise.
All right, and lastly, you tell me you saw this need over your years in practice because people go home and what did they maybe call you or need some assistance and like, wait a minute, what is it that my doctor was just telling me?
That's exactly, and very good insight from your perspective. It's very, very common to have these relatively elaborate conversations where you discuss a lot of important information only to have the patients call back, which is fine. Any number of times, generally asking questions that were discussed and gone over at time of the initial live visit. So it became super evident, and I think really all healthcare providers know that patients' ability to remember at scale important details is just not good. And so we built a solution to help that problem.
All right, well, Dr. Theodore and Chloe, I'm sorry, what was that?
No, you're fine. What's also so great about that care overview is all of the crazy medical jargon that's being talked about by the physician. It gives credible resources, and so it also highlights those key words, and so you're able to educate yourself and feel empowered inside of the conversation.
All right, well, sounds great. Thank you both so much for being here. The app is also secure. You'll have to log in, make an account, and
there's a two-factor authentication for the app, and so you don't have to worry about any of your medical information going to another person. So
all right, well, thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it greatly.
Absolutely.